An artifact has been located. Proceed to the dig site.
I might have made a small mistake in my last episode. You see, I need to check my work more often because I mistakenly wrote that I was fighting the Trinity Spectre at the Ceres Junction, when I was, in fact, fighting the Valkyr Spectre at the Jupiter Junction. My bad on that one. Anyway, so this past week I decided to start diving more into the actual quests of Warframe. Whereas progressing from planet to planet does give you missions to complete, there are standalone quests that pop up from time to time that utilize these missions you've unlocked to tell a story of some kind. This usually has to do with unlocking something, whether it be the Kubro I mentioned in episode 1, a weapon, or even a Warframe in the case of the Limbo Theorem quest. This one plays out like a scavenger hunt of sorts. You play this Arcwing mission where you have to gather proof fragments, which randomly drop when you kill enemies. Side note, I hadn't upgraded my Arcwing much, so I found myself struggling alone here, so I decided to turn public mode back on and got some much needed help. Kudos to Digital Extremes for giving me the option to turn that off and on so easily. So you gather enough of these fragments and you can craft the Limbo Theorem, which tells your companion Ordis where the pieces of the Limbo can be found. A quick note here, it was at this point that I started to notice something about the design of this game. While everything is for the most part pretty well spelled out, and the online wikis are pretty robust, there are some missing things in quests like this that really shouldn't be missing. For example, I can't remember a single time that the game told me that I had enough proof fragments to craft a theorem. You may have noticed that I left out how many fragments that you need to craft a Limbo Theorem. How many do you need? 3. How many did I have by the time I realized this? 23. Granted, this did come in handy later because you have to craft the theorem multiple times, but I still had way more than I needed. Not the biggest deal in the world, but I'm pretty sure future Warframe beginners will appreciate some kind of pop-up that clearly says you have enough fragments to craft a theorem. And if it's already there and I just missed it, I'm sorry. What I'm not sorry about, however, is my feelings regarding the excavation mission type in this game. See, after you craft the Limbo Theorem, Ordis will say that he knows where the blueprint for insert body part of Limbo here is and directs you to an excavation mission. Excavation is a mission mode where you defend an orbital drill that is digging for, in this case, the Limbo part blueprint. Defending things is no new thing to me considering that I've played quite a bit of Warframe and Destiny at this point, so that's totally fine with me. The rub is with the power mechanic. See, these drills run out of power after some time, and in order to get the maximum amount of excavation points, you have to keep feeding it batteries until the charge reads full and the drill timer hits 0. This will grant you 100 excavation points, and you need 300 to win, so you just repeat this process 3 times. Easy enough, right? Sure, until you factor in that these batteries can be so few and far between that you're holding off waves and waves and waves of enemies until the one enemy type that has the battery shows up. Also, I found myself running out of energy pretty often, so I was forced to go on long periods of time without my iron skill ability, which forced me to become much more mobile, and consequently I was paying less attention to the drill. This would cause the drill to be destroyed prematurely, which would grant me less excavation points and would prolong the process. To the game's credit, these drills do keep spawning until you get the 300 points, so it's not like if one of the drills gets destroyed too soon that you end up getting booted back to orbit. However, the mission does end up taking a lot longer and began to wear my patience as the Limbo Theorem quest went on. You had to do this excavation mission a few times within this quest, so I guess the reason for this little mini rant, I guess, had to do more with the repetition of this tedious mission and not necessarily its existence. Should I have enabled public mode again? Sure, but I'm one of those types of people that has a hard time asking for or accepting help, which I'm trying to work on, but I still need some work to do there. Also, enabling public mode doesn't guarantee help either. You know where I'm perfectly comfortable asking for help though? Void Fissures. Again, explanation for non-Warframe players. Throughout the game, you earn these items called relics, which contain prime gear. These are also the parts that are most often traded at Maru's Bazaar between players for platinum. Yep, unlike most free-to-play games, Warframe gives you the opportunity to earn its premium currency in-game by selling your rare items to other players. So after completing the Limbo Theorem and acquiring the Limbo Warframe blueprint, I left it to cook for 3 days while I went and did some Void Fissures and continued through the star chart. One thing I realized pretty quickly was not just any prime gear would sell on the market. A few times I would come back to Maru's Bazaar after a few fissures, and I kind of felt like I was invisible there because no one was really interested in my gear. Sure, if I had camped out there for an hour or so, I'm sure someone would have eventually come along that wanted to buy like 1 or 2 things, but I just didn't see that as an efficient use of my time. Perhaps it's better to wait until I have something really good and try to sell that and just build the ones that aren't as popular, I guess. While grinding through some fissures, I noticed that I had another quest that I could do, while the other one was locked on Uranus for some reason, so I decided to dive in. This one was called The New Strange and was part of the main quest line. This quest has to do with a Cephalon named Simaris. For context, your companion Ordis is also a Cephalon, just so you understand what Simaris is. So Simaris requests that you head to a Grineer shipyard to free his sentinels from captivity. You do so, but on a hunch, the Lotus believes that there may be more to Simaris' actions than he's letting on, so she asks you to find the facility's data vault to get more information. This is kind of cool as what started as a rescue mission seamlessly turns into a spy mission as you sneak further into the facility to steal the data. You then pay Simaris a visit at the relay leading to this.
I am Cephalon Simaris, the Destroyer, the Immortalizer. You will hunt the creatures I require and transform them into beings of the sanctuary. Is this murder? No. All beings of substance die eventually, but only those forgotten are truly dead.
I'm not sure if it's the subtle room shaking every time he talks, or the fact that he's right up in your face, but I find Simaris unsettling. Like I should really not trust anything he says and only interact with him when I need something. Not helping things, Simaris keeps trying to recruit Ordis to stay with him and work on the relays in order to gain knowledge and supposedly get his lost memories back. Ordis eventually declines, saying that his loyalty is to you. Eventually, you put aside your distrust to focus on a common enemy, a rogue chroma warframe that keeps showing up on your missions. Eventually, you end up in a wave defense mission where you scan the hostile chroma a few times and unlock the chroma warframe blueprint, ending the quest. While I found the story of this quest to be quite interesting, it did kind of end on an abrupt note and once again dropped the ball with its instructions. You see, at one point in the quest, you embark on a mission that has you scanning certain elite Arid Lancers to practice using the synthesis scanner. This is mentioned in the dialogue with Simaris, but it isn't really spelled out for the player, which led to me running this mission multiple times without the synthesis scanner equipped and wondering why I had to do this mission so many times. Eventually I figured it out and actually bought a few more from Simaris with credits to equip them into my item wheel and got back on the questline just fine. Again, this isn't a deal breaker, it's just more me voicing feedback about pressure points in my experience with the hopes that someone at Digital Extreme sees this someday. Probably not, but hey, a guy can dream. So I finished the new Strange quest and headed for the Uranus Junction. Side note, after Valkyr, I haven't really been having issues with the Spectres. Perhaps the fight with Valkyr acted as a strength training for me. That or Rhino was just absolutely the wrong warframe to use in that situation. I opened up the path to Uranus and I am excited to finally try this quest called A Man of Few Words, which I received a few plants ago actually. I have this strange feeling that things are about to get a lot more clem up in here.